So today I was thinking that maybe another topic that just comes to my mind right now is about religion, right? Most often than not, now religion has become more like a thing that existed in the past, but uh, it's quite fascinating, right, to kind of understand first why do we think that way, or why certain people think that way. If we go back, let's say a couple of years ago, or maybe hundreds of years ago, for instance, let's say I would say 700-800 years ago, 900 years ago, there was always this notion that there is a superior power, right? There is something called God that existed, so a supernatural being, basically. And that point of time, science, like how it is known today, wherein we are seeing internet, we are seeing airplanes flying, submarines, and so many amazing achievement by science, right? This was not known, let's say 700 years ago, 800 years ago. People were just making predictions, but still things like this, wherein we stated, or people say that they believed in a higher power, which stated, or which said that there is a creator that basically created this planet. And the same thing applies, let's say if you go thousands of years back, maybe 4,000, 5,000, 10,000 years back. Science may have not even been existed, because no one knew at that point of time, maybe 10,000 years ago, no one kind of knew that there would be something called a science after a couple of thousand years that'll basically explain how did we come here, right, in the first place. All of this was not known, but still one thing that took a root cause, or one of the things that they actually believed, was something called as God, something that created them. That's why back in the days, people had idols. People used to believe in worship, and they used to basically worship this. Why? Because there was always an innate nature that people believed that there is a higher power on this planet. Otherwise, people wouldn't exist. And what I find interesting is that today, and understand this, guys, that this has always been a debate, right? There have always been people from the day one till today, wherein there has always been a clash, right? A debate between uh, where people believe that there is God versus the ones that believed they don't, right? There are a couple of reasons behind that. I mean, like, if you go ahead and read books, get the history books out, which goes back thousands of years ago, it'll actually talk about those people. Let's talk about Socrates, right? He was someone who also believed in a higher power. uh, but oftentimes, people like this who call themselves, who were basically philosophers, and they were well known, they were a victim of the society. For example, we all know Socrates was a great philosopher, and his quotes, a lot of you might have read. People knew that he was influential in the entire location, in the entire country that he was staying in, and people respected his word. But a point came wherein the government, the high officials, basically said that he's spoiling the youth, and he was sentenced to that. He was killed, right? I mean, think about it. Someone of that caliber, where people knew that he is right, he's talking right stuff. Still, people believed, there were high officials that said that no, that he's corrupting the young minds, and they killed him. And that's what life is. It has always been. People always have clashed, or there were people that did not believe in God, there were people that believed in God. And there are a couple of reasons. Also, there are a couple of reasons where jealousy, one of the reasons was jealousy, because when and this is specifically with Abrahamic traditions, wherein religions like Jewish traditions, Christianity, Islam, these kind of religions, where there were prophets uh, sent by the God. Uh, People, basically kings at those point of time, when these prophets came out and they said, I am the prophet of God, and I've come to basically convey this message. Kings always fought back, because they knew that if they allow someone like a prophet, who maybe is not that powerful as the king, let him, then he's going to be driving the entire city. He'll be the most powerful person. So one of the reasons was power, and which is basically even tied to jealousy, because when, for instance, the reason why I say jealousy is because when a prophet basically comes and says, I've been chosen by God, people who are also powerful, maybe not as powerful as king, but someone else, they would think like, okay, why did God choose someone like him who's not even powerful and not us? So the second one of the reasons, or second reason basically, was one of the reason of jealousy, where like, why did they choose him? Why not me? Since God has not chosen him, maybe he's just lying. And people basically used to say, no, you're a liar. And this happened with a lot of prophets, right? A lot of prophets were killed because of this reason. Uh, and religion, for that matter, is the same. A lot of people believe, and most people don't. But what we need to understand is, end of the day, every one of us, people who believe in God, people who don't believe in God, all of us have one thing in common: we all believe in something. Now, it's different for different people. For some people, it's religion, it's the faith. For some people, it's the science.